So we oversee pretty much the entire gamut of the supply chain and logistics for the Coast Guard on the surface fleet. Like what I said before, we oversee any maintenance and anything that goes on with our cutters and our small boats. So as of right now, I'm not filling the analyst role. I am actually part of customer service section chief. So, and as you can probably tell, customer service people are only calling me when they have an issue, and so really putting out my daily. My each day is completely different for me as a customer service section chief. So for the most part, get in around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, start looking at emails and just starting to put out fires, see what's pretty much triaging what needs to be done first. Really, it's if there's a casualty or a mishap on a ship, they're sending us a request to get a part out to them wherever that is located. It could be in any of the continental U.S. or it could be overseas, wherever our ships are. We have to get them the parts. Um, I'm going through those emails to see what needs to get done priority wise. So it's shipping a part, or they put in the request, but now the part is stuck somewhere. So it's my job to kind of look and figure out how we can get that figured out. Me personally, I might not be the one really figuring out the question or the figuring out the answer. It'd be me finding the person to talk with to get the ball rolling or to get things moving along. So my day to day is completely different. But for the most part, it's putting out fires, and then on the back burner, being pretty much assigned a project officer. So I still wear my analyst hat. So if there's something that's going on, I'll be pulling a lot of data and looking through that information and compiling PowerPoints and spreadsheets to offer my boss some guidance and direction on any big projects that are going on for the Coast Guard.
Thank you for that. And Carrie, we were just jumping in and people were sharing just what a day in the life of their job looks like. So you can feel free to share that as well.
Sure. I'm in the Coast Guard almost 18 years. I do facility and container inspections. I do foreign flagged vessel inspections. And I don't know if you can see behind me, but I'm currently at Station Washington, and we're setting up some of the logistics and the communication to support the inauguration next week. What the big thing that our job as a marine science technician is to keep the maritime transportation system open. And that can be done in a multitude of ways of, if there's an oil spill, we do a safety zone, we shut the waterway down in a limited capacity so we can still facilitate commerce, but not have everyone traipsing through the oil and spreading it everywhere. Or we could be doing facility inspections to ensure safe transfer of oil products or liquid natural gas. Or I'm popping containers to see if people are trying to not pay their taxes on hazardous materials or ship them properly. So what they'll do is they'll package them in containers or report them to be shoes or t-shirts or something like that. And in fact, it was a product that should have additional tariffs and stuff like that placed on them. So we find them, we work with customs, CBP, agriculture, and ensure that, the United States gets paid the money that they need to support infrastructure through container inspections.
Thank you for that. And anyone else can feel free to jump in.
I'll jump in. So my name is MSD2 Sean Landante, and I've been in the Coast Guard for about 16 years now. I've done a little bit of everything, from the port state control exams like Chief Bolin was talking about, to pollution response. Right now, my position is in Waterways Management Division, and I deal mostly with basically keeping the waterways safe. If a vessel sinks or if there's any kind of debris in the waterways, we make sure that it's known to the public, and we work with state and port partners to help get some of this stuff removed from the navigational channels. I deal with a lot of marine event permits, so like boat parades, regattas, fireworks shows. We make sure that they're safe for the public to view from their boats, and also safe for the waterways in general. And we permit them, or we don't permit them, but we'll put out notice to mariners, to the public, to let people know what's going on. I also deal with writing up regulations for safety and security zones. For instance, for the inauguration, I was helping out with writing up the notice of enforcement for a regulation that's already in existence, to put in place security zones for the inauguration in our waterways over in the Potomac. But I deal with a little bit of everything every day. In my particular job, it's varied what I deal with.
I'm also curious, do you all collaborate in any ways? Like, does any of you all like work on the same team or maybe work on a project together? And if so, could you share information about that?
Sure. Actually, Holly Givens works in my department, so I'm the chief in charge of the shop. Sean Ladante actually sits in the next set of desks together, so we're constantly working together all the time. So if there's ever, say there was a spill at a facility, we would make notification to Sean and the team in Waterways Management to ensure that they know that there's been a spill, the area that's been affected, and request an emergency safety zone to stop people from entering that area. Sorry, that's the SAR alarm going off. It'll stop in a minute. So actually one of the
Princess, this is a test of the mass notification system.
Oh, never mind. So they're testing the notification system. So we would then contact Sean. Sean would request a law. So a law actually has to be written in order for us to shut the waterway down. And to secure the area, they would help with all boating notifications. So facilities around the area, our facilities team would notify them. Our IMD, which is our pollution management team, would be notifying marinas. Our command center would actually be sending out notifications via broadcast for all your recreational waterways users to know that this area is restricted due to a spill. And then they literally, like, every, I don't know, hour or two, we're constantly updating each other. So we know, is it bigger? Is it smaller? Do we need more? Do we need less? So we work together constantly.
And Albert, if you notice, so everyone's been talking about inauguration. So everything that's been said, this is their daily job. On top of everything else, everyone has an inauguration duty because the Coast Guard's supporting the Secret Service and waterside security. So, on top of all the container inspections they do, the facilities inspections they do, we also have a role in responding to a big national security event like inauguration. So as you see, Chief Boland's actually down there at Station Washington, setting up our forward operating base for over 400 Coast Guard members that are coming in to Washington, D.C. to help support security for the inauguration. And I've been pulled off of my regular civilian job to support the coordination for all that. So our jobs are multifaceted in itself.
Yeah, I can only imagine, especially during this time, which some of your duties might involve. Would just want to remind our students, and I see some teachers in here as well. We have about 3 more minutes. If you all want to jump in with any questions, any reflections, any thoughts that you have for the staff members here, feel free to do that now.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Oh,
Anybody can answer this, but what was the reason that you chose to be a Coast Guard? Like, is there any specific reason for it?
I can answer that question from my personal experience. So I was graduating high school in 2011, and I was right in the middle of the Deepwater Horizon oil spill that happened in 2010, and I lived in Florida. So that affected my friends and family and their welfare. From a lot of people owned marinas or did fishing charters. I wasn't quite ready to go to college. I didn't feel prepared to spend the money to go, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So when I learned about the Coast Guard and that they had a kind of environmental mission, I was sold. So I immediately signed up and joined the Coast Guard, and I've been doing it for 9 years now, and I love it. So it was a great choice for me. And the Coast Guard does pay for college too, if you want to work towards some kind of goal on the side, or so it's very versatile, and there's been so many opportunities afforded to me because of it. So thank you.
Just quickly, I joined because I was post 9/11. So I joined in 2003. I was going to school for marine biology, but I was an average student at best. And I wanted to be on the water. I wanted to help, and I didn't know how. So it was between the Navy or the Coast Guard. And I learned about the environmental aspects that the Coast Guard does, but that the mission was there's so many missions that we do, but I'm going to stay in the United States most of the time. We have the opportunity to be stationed overseas, but it's not the same as with Army or Marine Corps or Navy. Your deployments aren't as long. So that was a factor because I wanted to leave home, but I didn't know how far I wanted to go. And it was job stability. You're a college student, you're no longer covered on your parents' medical insurance once you disenroll. And so it was my opportunity to do something bigger, but actually kind of discover myself in the meantime.
I got a question. What's your average deployment for a long endurance cutter nowadays, as far as time is concerned?
If you're on a polar roller or the icebreakers, 6 to 8 months is your deployment. And then if you are on a national security cutter, they average from 95 days. But then if you're in a special one like RIMPAC is 6 months. So it just kind of depends on the roll of the dice for the year as to which cutters get selected. But your polar rollers are absolutely 6 to 8 months because you're going to Antarctica or you're going to the North Pole and you're doing Arctic operations, ice breaking missions, but you have a team of scientists on board that are marking icebergs and doing research and study to understand what's happening in the polar regions.
Do you also have the ability to have a dream sheet on where you want to go, whether you want to be on a long endurance or a polar roller or anything like that? Do you have that ability to fill that out?
Yes, sir. We have a dream sheet. That's exactly what it's called. So we find out, so on average, most of our tours are 4 years. If you're on a cutter, they're now the cutters are 3 years. Shore units are usually 4 years, but you can always advance out of your position. Or if there was some circumstance, you can request to be short toured. But you research what jobs are open at your pay grade for that next year, and then you apply for them, and then you compete against all the other people transferring that year.
Now I have, thank you very much. Now I have some of my students that are getting certifications in IT. With their certification, would they be qualified for upper pay grade instead of going like as an E1 or E2? Can they go into like as a 2 or 3? Is that possible?
Yes, sir. So everyone's an E1 in basic training. And then because I had college, I had at least 60 credits of college, I automatically became an E3. If you have certifications, you have an E3. So there's a lot of different programs for incentives, and you'll skip a pay grade.
Okay. My family is we're kind of a Coast Guard family. I have some relatives and family that went into Coast Guard. They went into boot camp, Cape May. So that was the closest where they got sent. I'm assuming that's one, there's other boot camps around, I guess, or is just Cape May it?
We only have one. We used to have two. There, what is now known as Coast Guard Island out in Alameda, California,
Okay.
was boot camp back in the day. But
Mhm.
no, Cape May, New Jersey is the only boot camp we have.
Yeah, I've been to Alameda too. I mean, they did, yeah, my brother-in-law was stationed as a medic out there. And also they had a naval base out there, naval base in Alameda. So,
Thank you, Mr. Hannaford, for
thank
those
you.
great questions. Unfortunately, we do have to end this session, so everyone has the opportunity to go to the second breakout session. So students, Mr. Hannaford, if there's a different session that you want to check out, you can feel free to go ahead and pop on over there now. But if you want to keep hanging out with the Coast Guard, you can feel free to hang out with us, as we'll be here. So I'm going to stop the recording on this session, and then we'll start up again in about 2 minutes.